Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to go over One Piece manga chapter 1187, and I am a little behind on this. I think as of the recording of this episode it should be 1191 that's releasing this week. So I'm a tad behind, but you know what? We'll get there. We'll get there. So let's get right into this one. Now, this is my first time doing this one, like for YouTube. If you look at the one that's already posted before this one, because I do have a couple. Those were my TikToks that were just too long for shorts. So this is an actual like YouTube video and not like a TikTok one. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm excited to do it. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the chapter is broken up into like about 4 parts from what I was seeing. There's the beginning. Oh, and also I am caught up with the most recent chapter, but I will not be spoiling that. So my net ease. I won't be like putting anything in here. Hold up. Before okay, hold up. Let me just start like real back. Let me backtrack just a bit. So the way I'm gonna do this, or the way I do this is I read the chapter once. If the scans come out, I'll read the scans, but then I'll go ahead and read the actual official release. Because they do differ from the dialogue between the fan scans and the official scans. So I want to be with the official scans when I do these reviews. So I read it. Sometimes I read the fan, or sometimes not. But regardless, I will read the official. I will read the official scan at least once without doing anything to it, and then I'll reread it, and that's why I'm gonna start taking notes and everything. And then after that, I started writing the script for this video and whatnot. So I do have the script here for this video already. So basically, whatever's on here or anything I'm theorizing, will be here. Even though I am caught up, I am only gonna be going over my thoughts of the time. So you guys don't have to worry about like me like going into chapter 1190 or something out of this one, like, oh yeah, and then or whatever. So yeah, so might at ease. I do have the script here that I did write, just to keep, or I guess my notes. It's not even a script, it's just all my notes right there. But it's just gonna stay till that. So no spoilers moving forward, and it's gonna be the same for the other video. So all right, let's get into it. So this chapter is split up into 4 parts from what I was seeing. There's Luffy and Loki versus Imu. Then it goes to Zoro and Sanji versus the Holy Knights, and then it goes to Brook trying to get Gunko out of the ice that Loki trapped her in, and then it ends with Luffy and Imu just facing off. So that's like about the four different parts this chapter is broken into. Okay, so it does start off with Luffy punching Imu like just clear like a good distance, and Loki's like surprised about the fact that he was able to send him flying that far. But as he is flying, he does like shoot his little flames to like Loki and Luffy. It does make me laugh that like although Loki is shocked, he's like, oh, it says right here, that was a pretty good shot, but I'll admit, but it only happened because all the damage I put on him first. So he's like not really giving Luffy his flowers right here. He's like, yeah, it's pretty good, but only because of me. If not, you would have never got that. So that was pretty funny. And then we go to, I guess, a little bit of Imu's power, because those flames that he shot out when he was getting sent flying. They're like homies. That's what I'm thinking them, like kind of like Big Mom's like Devil Fruit, where she's able to make homies, or is able to make inanimate objects animated, and he seems to be doing the same thing but with his flames. And they moved into Loki's chest, and when they moved in, his like sword, his flame sword, I guess, was able to lock onto that and actually pierce Loki from a good distance. So I'm wondering if it's like, well, it is a lock-on system, but I guess how far's the distance? Like, it was a pretty good distance that he was able to stab Loki from. So I'm wondering just like the lengths of it. So can it be like across Elbaf? Can it be across like the ocean? Can he be like in the Holy Land? And as long as those flames are on someone, can like that blade just shoot out and like find them wherever they're at? So that's pretty interesting. I'm wondering, if they reveal that in a later chapter or not. But yeah, so after Loki gets stabbed, he does kind of like gets put out of commission, and he falls down next to Gunko and then the rest of Luffy's crew, which consists of Brook, Frankie, Nami, Usopp, and Jinbei. And right there is where, like I said, the other part of the chapter, they're trying to get Gunko free from the ice that Loki had trapped her in earlier. Now, before Loki lands, it is a little funny. Like it's funny how like One Piece weaves in serious and comedic things to it. I've always liked that about it. So, like for example, right here, um, I should have the manga panels up hopefully, so you guys could you guys could see. But again, with copyrights and stuff like that, I don't know how much I'm able to show, but I'll show what I can. Hopefully, this is one of them. Okay, so the funny thing is, like Usopp's like saying that he's not sure if it's ice or not, if not, and Nami thinks it's diamonds. So it's just like a little comedic relief right here, and it even goes so far as like Brooke and Frankie touching it. It's like, oh, well, I don't feel anything, but Brooke is dead, so he's not gonna feel any coldness, and Frankie's a cyborg, so he's not gonna feel anything either, unless he put receptors in his hands, which it doesn't seem like he did if he's not able to feel the ice. So that was a pretty funny scene that made me laugh. Like, huh, we don't feel anything, and they're like, of course not. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, so Loki does land right after the little scene right there. The ice does start to melt. So right here, what I'm thinking of is because when a devil fruit user gets knocked out or maybe even dies, whatever they use their devil fruit kind of disappears. So the fact that the ice is melting, is that putting Loki on a clock? So kind of like the VV cards, you know how they burn away once the person dies? Is this like similar to that? So basically, if Loki dies, Gunko is technically free, but we'll know that Loki has to come to his wounds, and he's out of there. And the squirrel does seem pretty worried about Loki in this little scene. So that's so I'm wondering right there, like, ooh, we'll get her free, but hopefully Loki don't die from this because that will suck. And then Luffy and Emo are still kind of fighting. Luffy does recognize that his flame sword or his powers do lock onto the flame homies that he threw on them. So he removes any clothes he had that had the flame homies on there, and the sword targets like his coat because that's what he threw. So kind of just shows them like, okay, like make sure like none of those are on you because he'll be able to hit you with it. The next part of the chapter where it's Zoro speaking to the Holy Knights, or one of them, because they did separate, and Zoro's fighting one and Sanji's fighting the other. And right here, it kind of shows that Zoro does, like, although him and Sanji always butt heads, it shows like the respect he has for Sanji right here, because he says like, fancy that my companion just went towards the village, so my guess is that yours ain't coming back. And then Holy Knight asks, yeah, mind if I ask why? Because he'll be dead. So he has that much confidence in Sanji that he'll be able to get the job done, even though they're always like butting heads. They know where each one like power lies, so they're kind of like brothers. Like, I know people have made that comparison before, but yeah, so they're always fighting, but they know they could rely on one another to get the job done. And right here is just another illustration of that dynamic between them. So I kind of like that. You're showing the crew kind of knows like what each one is capable of and stuff like that, and that's why this crew works out so well. Like in Wano, where Luffy told Kaido, like, I don't have to worry about everyone downstairs because my crew's there. All I have to worry about is defeating you, and all my crew has to worry about is cleaning up basically the mess down there. So I've always liked those dynamics because it just shows like how, although the timeline is only like 3 years maybe that this crew's been together, it shows just how deep their connections go. So Zoro and the Holy Knight do start to fight, and then we cut to Sanji. And right there, I liked how it's showing Sanji like, more analytical side, because he has done that before. He has shown that he's capable of that. He's more like a strategist. For example, the one I like to refer to a lot is in Enies Lobby, where he went and broke the lever to cause the war poles to keep spinning after they escaped, so that way the Navy couldn't chase him. So when Sanji is there, he's seeing everything that's going on. He's seeing the children be taken. He's seeing the parents trying to fight them back. And then he starts to assess the situation on the best course of action. And then he figures out that it's like, the Holy Knight, there's like, I think 3 different problems he thinks of. And in the end, he ends up figuring out the solution is the Holy Knight right there that's causing everything to happen. So he attacks the Holy Knight right away, and then their fight starts to ensue. One interesting thing that I did find about this is that the Holy Knight does like say that there's a difference between immortality and toughness. Just saying that, yeah, you're very tough. Well, it's just alluding, yeah, you could be strong, you could be tough, you could be like durable. However, I'm immortal, so no matter what you do to me, I'm not gonna die. And there's like the gap that you can really overcome. However, Scopper did say that there's ways to kill them, so I guess they're not truly immortal. So I'm wondering if the Holy Knights understand that, and he's just trying to bluff it because like it's really hard to even get to that point, or if they just truly think they're immortal, which I don't think so. But maybe he's just trying to bluff, or he's thinking that Sanji doesn't have the capability to get him to that part because he doesn't have Conqueror's Haki. Which actually leads to the next point where Sanji starts to remember that Scopper told Zoro that he needed to learn to use Conqueror's Haki, to protect Luffy. And then Sanji does ask him if he could use it too, and Scopper said yes. So Copper did say that Sanji could, but what's holding him back is his masochistic instability. So this one I kind of do want to talk about like what does he mean about this? His masochistic instability. I'm wondering what it actually means. So I decided to like look it up the word because I wasn't too familiar with it. And the definition I found is that it typically refers to a psychological pattern where the individual subconsciously creates chaos, self-sabotage, or clings to painful relationships. So this instability is rooted in deep-seated defense mechanism rather than a formal diagnosis. So I'm not sure if Oda meant this, but for the lack of something better, I will proceed as if he did. Now, I do think that the definition does relate to Sanji to not point by point, although we will explore it like that, but just like in general, I think it does kind of relate to his character up till now. So, for example, creating chaos, I think that is true of the good part of the crew, even subconsciously. So, I think most of the crew creates chaos on their own, especially the top three, which would be Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. So I think this would fit his personality, or this definition will fit him. But although I don't think it's as deep as holding him back from obtaining Conqueror's Haki, or helping out Luffy in the way that Scopper thinks that Zoro can. Now the self-sabotage, I think it does relate to him a little bit more, because the inability to hurt women even when they're trying to actively kill him, like in Enies Lobby or Wano, is something that has been holding him back. Not saying he should hurt them, but really he goes as far as to not even defend himself when they're actively trying to kill him, hurt him or whatnot. So I think this is a form of self-sabotage that he holds to his principles so tight that he won't even think of compromising them, even in the situations of self-defense. So I think this might be one of those issues that Scopper was alluding to, was this definition of his machinistic instability. And then the last part, the clinging to painful relationship. This could actually be with his family, although he did cut ties with them after Whole Cake Island. There was an existential crisis in Wano when his skeleton became nearly indestructible. I think it became like an exoskeleton or something. So Queen wasn't able to really hurt him, and he went through his existential crisis. So although he does not have a relationship with his family, I think what is holding him back is the possibility of him becoming like them. Which to Sanji is the worst thing of becoming like his brother's cold, heartless, apathetic person, and this might still linger in the back of his mind, which in turn is causing him to hold back his powers. So let's like explore the relationship he does have with his family right now, and that is a relationship in which he wants nothing to do with them or be like them in any shape or form. So he doesn't want their name, he doesn't want nothing with them. So the fact that these, I guess, Germa, attributes are starting to manifest in him, these Germa attributes are starting to manifest in himself, is causing him to freak out. However, he should let go of the, I guess, thought that he's not gonna be like them. So what I mean by that is he should let go of the fact that he is gonna be like them to an extent, because they are family. However, what he chooses to do with that power, he decides, and it doesn't mean he's gonna become as like morally deprived as them, and he could still be himself with those attributes and not lose himself to them. And I think him holding on to the relationship, or to the idea that no, if I let a little bit in, it's just gonna cause me to completely become like them altogether, is what's holding him back in this situation. Hopefully that makes sense. And this one I did take a little bit of thought to get everything down, but yeah, so we're just gonna move on from there. Okay, and then it kind of towards the end, actually like the last page, it does say that Scopper tells Sanji, "You must be a king too. A king if you truly want to make Luffy the king of the pirates." So I guess whatever this means to Sanji, well, I guess whatever king he wants to become, like Zoro's the king of hell, and then Luffy's gonna be the king of the pirates. So what kind of king is he gonna be? He is a prince, so go from a prince to a king. I guess the king of loving women, maybe, I don't know. That could be something that he could end up announcing or something later. But so he is going to show that he's gonna go through a change, also to help him become stronger and help Luffy out in the end. Also, I do know there's a little bit of discord on whether Sanji should unlock Conqueror's Haki or not, and I think he should, just because Luffy is following on Roger's footsteps. So it makes sense to me that both Zoro and Sanji unlock Conqueror's Haki, just like Rayleigh and Scopper both had Conqueror's Haki. So I don't really understand why people are kind of up in arms about this, but I think it makes sense for like the story as of now. And just like Usopp has observation hockey, although like he himself doesn't completely know it, like in Dressrosa, he was able to see Luffy and Law through his through his observation hockey. So and like Zoro has Conqueror's hockey also. So I mean, it just makes sense that Sanji does too. But I guess people really didn't like that. I really don't have an issue about it. I'm actually kind of excited to see him actually develop it and use it, hopefully in this arc. So we'll see how it goes. And then it just ends with Emu and Luffy kind of like scoring up for their bout. And yeah, and then yeah, so it just kind of, but the thing is, Emu keeps calling Luffy Joy Boy, and Luffy's like, "Stop calling me that. I'm Luffy, and I'm gonna be the man. I'm the man who will become the king of the pirates in the end." So, I guess Joy Boy's fruit left such an or Joy Boy left such an impression on Emu that like anyone who has his fruit, he doesn't even acknowledge their existence. He only acknowledges the fruit that Joy Boy had. Therefore, he just calls them Joy Boy, no matter who it is. So that's pretty interesting. I guess dynamic between Emu and whoever this Joy Boy fellow was that has them like really stressing out. Yeah, that'll be the end of this chapter review. It was a little all over the place, I will admit, but but I will get better at it, and I will just as I continue to to record, to write the scripts to make them a little bit better, because whenever I try to read it, my mind goes like to 3 different places at once. So you just practice. This just gonna take practice for me to keep going over and over again until I get to a format where I'm confidently speaking. Everything I want to say gets said. And yeah, also there's some dogs barking outside my window. Hopefully the mic's not picking up, but if it does, on my apologies. I just heard them right now. Oh, I'm just hearing them right now. But yeah, that should do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. And until the next one, I promise it will be better. But yeah, all right, this is y'all.